Hi, this is Gary from 3Bug Media, and today we're going to talk about whether you should invest in SEO or paid advertising for your business. Now, I get this question a lot from potential customers. They want to know what the differences are, which ones they should spend their time and money on. So we're going to talk about that today. We're going to cover the pros and cons of each so you can make an informed decision. Now, most small business owners, have limited resources, limited time, so they can't do both, or at least in the early on in their business. So hopefully this will give you an idea of which one is a better investment for you. Now, the first thing we're going to talk about is search engine optimization. Now, I assume you know what it is. It's getting your page or web pages ranked highly in the organic search results. And the biggest pro for that, it produces a great ROI when it works. And the reason it produces a great ROI is that when it comes to SEO, you make that investment of time or money if you're paying somebody up front. But once it starts to take hold, once you get those rankings and it's sending hundreds or thousands of visitors a month to your website, it does that month after month after month. So you're only paying for, usually you're only paying for it once up front to get those returns. And as time goes on, as you keep getting that traffic over time, your ROI goes up for that initial investment. And that brings us to number two. You only pay once. And that's a big difference between SEO and paid advertising, is you make that investment of time or money up front and you don't have to pay again. So, every month, if you're getting 300 visitors a month from that one search term, you're not paying for that. You only paid for it once up front. So it makes a big difference with your ROI. Just that fact that you're making those investments up front and you don't have to pay for every time somebody comes to your website. Now, SEO, you definitely can do it yourself. You can do a DIY SEO plan for yourself. Probably the biggest mistake I see with small business owners is they jump in, they try to do SEO, they read a couple articles, and they spend lots of time doing lots of activities, and they don't see any results on there. So if you're going to do it yourself, it definitely can work, but you have to make sure that you spend the time to learn the basics and fundamentals of doing SEO. And if you pay somebody, make sure that they know what they're doing. There's lots and lots of people out there who claim they do SEO and it's easy and they give you a whole spiel. But if they don't do it right, it doesn't matter. You're going to spend lots of time, lots of money, and walk away with not much on there. So, you definitely do it yourself. Just make sure you know what you're doing. Cons, it's time consuming. And that's one of the biggest fears with SEO is so much time. It's a big investment of time to do it properly. And that's why it's one of the reasons why SEO is so expensive, because you're paying for time. So if it's a competitive niche you're in, you're going after competitive search terms and you have an uphill battle, you have a lot of competitors that are doing really well, it's going to cost a good SEO a lot of time to, do the research, do the content, do the optimization, do the link building, the outreach. All of those things take lots of time, and that's essentially what you're paying for when it comes to SEO, time. Now, you can do it yourself. And if you want to do it properly, you're going to make an equal investment of time. So if it's something where you have more time than money, then SEO may make sense if you're willing to learn. Next is, it's a long time to ROI. And that's one of the things business owners struggle with when it comes to SEO. They're traditionally used to doing paid advertising where they place an ad, they get a whole bunch of calls, they make some sales, and then they just rinse and repeat. When it comes to SEO, it's almost the opposite. You make the investment, you pay for it up front, and you may not start to see results for several weeks or even several months if it's a competitive niche for your money. And that's a scary prospect for most business owners to invest that money and not know, what's going to happen with it. And that brings us to number three. It may not work, especially if you're doing it yourself, if you haven't spent the time, to do the proper research, or you hired somebody that sounded like they knew what they were doing, but they really didn't. You may find several months down the road that it was all for nothing. You basically didn't get anything out of your returns, or the returns you got, didn't meet expectations. So especially when it comes to SEO, make sure that you have an understanding of how it works and what's needed to put together a proper SEO campaign. And if you're hiring somebody, make sure you still have an understanding of it, because it's one of those things where it's easy to BS people. You can make up terms like, robots, text files, and metadata, and all this stuff to kind of throw you off base and make it sound like they're doing a lot of work, when in reality, they're not doing that much, and you're not getting that much money. You're not getting that much for your money on there. So make sure that you have a good understanding of what SEO is, what it entails, what goes in it. So at the very least, you can monitor it if you're paying somebody, and you have the fundamentals if you decide to do it yourself. So that's an overview of search engine optimization. Next thing we're going to move to is paid advertising. Now, paid advertising can be Google AdWords, Bing pages, Bing ads, Facebook ads, Twitter ads, any kind of social media, things like that. And probably the biggest pro is it produces fast results. So if you needed customers like yesterday, then paid advertising is where you're going to go with that, because you can set up a campaign and start getting traffic within the hour and start getting sales within the hour. And that's something you just can't do with SEO. It's more of a timetable to get your results, where paid advertising, you can get it instantly if you're willing to pay to do it. So that's a great benefit for paid advertising, and that's one of the metrics that we talk about when we're talking with prospective clients is, do you need customers immediately for your business, or can you afford to wait a little while so we can make those investments? And if they needed customers yesterday, then we usually gravitate towards paid ads, at least initially. But if they can wait off, then we like to start with some SEO and then maybe eventually do some paid advertising along the line. So fast results is number one. Lots of targeting options, and it's something you can't do with SEO. When it comes to paid ads, you can do search text ads, you can do, banner ads, image ads, video ads. You can do so many things. You can do in-stream placements on places like, Facebook ads or Instagram, things like that. You can make ads that technically don't even look like ads. So lots of targeting options, and even when it comes to targeting your audience, you can get so specific these days with who you want to target. Specific demographics and specific locations, age groups, incomes, interests, behaviors, things like that. You can really dial down who you want to target with your ads, and that helps to ensure that you're not wasting your money on advertising like you would with traditional ads like newspaper ads and postcards and things like that, where you're sending it out to a mass audience and hoping you're hitting the right market. With online advertising, you can laser target your advertising to exactly who your best customer is. Also, we have target a wide range of terms. Now, when it comes to SEO, it's so important to get the research done right, because once you start, it's hard to pivot, because once you start investing all that time, and effort, and you realize it's not working, it takes a lot to kind of backtrack and start over again. So initially, if you're doing SEO, you may only be targeting 5 or 20 terms in your SEO campaign, where paid advertising, you can, right off the bat, you can start targeting hundreds or even thousands of terms if you're an e-commerce store, right off the bat, and be in the running for every single one of those terms right off the bat. So that's really powerful to get that range, to have that wide range of search terms that you can target. And one of the big differences between paid ads and SEO is paid ads is a lot more forgiving if you make mistakes. Now, when it comes to SEO, you have to get it right up front. That's why SEO, it's so critical that you do the proper research from the beginning, because if you don't do the proper research from the beginning, you may find several months down the line that you've been targeting the wrong terms, and you've just wasted several months and several $1,000s of your money, and you didn't get much for it. Where paid ads, you can put a campaign together, and then at the end of the month, you may realize, or at the end of the week, you may realize that, half of these search terms aren't working, they're not doing well, and you can just scrap them, replace them with new ones, and you can refine as you go. So it's a lot less forgiving if you make mistakes when it comes to paid advertising. Now let's look at the cons. Probably the biggest one, it's expensive. It's a pay-to-play model. So anytime somebody clicks on your ad, watches a video, comes to your website, you essentially have to pay for that. Now, depending on what business you're in, what location, what industry, clicks can be anywhere from 20 cents to $20, $30 a click. You know what I mean? So it can get pretty expensive pretty fast, especially if you have a website that isn't converting that traffic into leads or sales for your business. And that's why if you don't run an optimized ad campaign and your website's not set up to convert, you can spend a lot of money very quickly and not see that much return on your money. So the expense is why most people kind of gravitate towards SEO, is they'd rather spend the time than the money to do it. The next thing is banner blindness, and that's kind of a general term, but a lot of people online are kind of trained themselves to ignore ads. You know, banner ads pop up, you get pop-up ads, things like that. People tend to zone those things out while they're doing that thing online, and that could be a negative because people can be ignoring your ads. You may not get may not be as effective as you want. Or if you're doing something like video ads where you're paying by the view, maybe you get views, but nobody is converting to a customer for your business. So banner blindness, definitely, is definitely a reality out there. There's so many different kinds of advertising to do online. But what I would say with that, it really depends on what you're searching for. And put it this way, people searching for information, definitely organic search results win out every time. But if you're doing a search for, say, if you have big feet and you're searching for size 15 double wide sneakers, and you get the organic search results, you may get guides to men with big feet, you may get a whole bunch of non-direct information where the ads may, you may get a Zappos ad that says, hey, we have size 15 double wide shoes right here. You can buy them today on sale, and that'll get the click. So depending on the search term, especially ones with high commercial intent where people want to buy, paid ads tend to do very well, if not better, than organic ads. So next we're going to go to complicated. Now, if you've ever tried to set up your own Google AdWords campaign, it can get pretty complicated pretty quick. Now, Google, promotes it as a super easy platform. Anyone can do it. Business owners can do it themselves. In reality, that's probably the quickest way to lose your money because there's so many features, there's so many checks in there, and there's so many things you need to do to refine your campaign. It's easy if you're a novice to miss over a lot of those things and run your campaign and realize you just spent $500 and it did absolutely nothing for your business. So it can get complicated. I would say, general rule of thumb, I usually say if you're spending less than $500 a month, spend some time, learn how to do it yourself and go. If you're spending more than that, especially if you're spending more than $1,000 a month or $2,000 a month, pay somebody to set up your campaign for you. Even if you don't want to pay somebody on an ongoing basis, pay somebody the money to have the campaign set up properly from the start. It will save you a lot of time, it'll save you a lot of money, and it'll save you a lot of headaches and frustrations later on down the line. So those are the pros and cons when it comes to SEO and paid ads. One of the things I usually tell people to do if they're trying to figure out which one they should do is take a search term that you want to rank for organically, and say if you get 1,000 people, eventually if you can rank for that term and you're getting 1,000 people coming to your website each month for that term, turn around and go to a tool like Google AdWords Planner. Put that search term in there and get it, and they'll give you an estimate of how much that keyword cost if you're going to pay for that. And that'll give you a good indicator of which one's a better investment for you. And I'll give you an example. Say you're going to do a search term that, you're getting 1,000 people a month coming to your site, and you put it in the AdWords Planner and it says this bid will cost you about $5 a click. Right away, you'll know that those 1,000 organic visitors are worth $5,000 to your business, because if you had to turn around and pay for that traffic, it would cost you $5,000 in paid advertising to duplicate that organic traffic. In that case, it may make perfect sense for you to spend several $1,000s and lots of time to try to get that search term optimized and get it ranked in the search engines, because once it starts producing returns, it's going to produce a great ROI compared to paid advertising. And on the flip side, you may see terms where maybe the costs are minimal, and it may make sense, instead of investing the time in SEO, it may be cheaper and quicker to just pay for that traffic instead. And then if it converts well, maybe look at doing SEO down the line for that search term. So that's a good quick way to figure out which one might produce the better ROI. On average, if you're in an industry where the cost per clicks are pretty high, over $5 a click, SEO can pay some great dividends for you, because you can be spending several $1,000s a month on paid ads to get that same traffic on there. So I hope this helped. I hope you learned a little bit. and I hope it helped you make a decision if you want to do SEO or paid advertising. If you have any questions, you can contact us at 3bugmedia.com. Thank you very much and have a good day.